All right, all right, all right. Let's get started. Let's get started. Okay, good people, good people. How are you out there? Can you hear me good? Can you hear me good? Can you hear me good? If you hear me good, let me get a thumbs up in the chat box. Let me get a thumbs up in the chat box. Get this off the screen real quick. Close this. How I close this? And right there. Right there. Oh, wrong button. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. What up, Thomas? Matthew, how you guys doing? How you guys doing? Really excited to get started about this this preseason depth chart. What it is when I saw this tweet, it lets me know that the season is here. The season is upon us. Preseason game last night that was kind of uninteresting, but football's back. Football's back. And so I got this tweet. I was sitting at my computer, and I got this tweet about the preseason first game depth chart. I felt like it would be a good conversation starter, a good topic to get started with. But before we even dive into that, I got a kind of a channel update. And let me grab my notes right here. So for the next couple of weeks, especially during the preseason, this is kind of how the channel will go. So we'll have vlogs about camp updates. And what I'll do is I'll take like the messages from Twitter, the updates from Instagram, from Ravens.com, from the different Ravens reporters, and then putting my thoughts on it and putting it out there in a vlog form. It won't necessarily be live. It'll be something I record maybe between my own practices and put a little spin on it and go from there. And then we can comment. We can talk about it in the comment section. The other thing is, after preseason games, we'll set the phone lines up and we'll have a call-in show. So you guys can call in and say what you liked about the preseason game, what you didn't like, who you thought performed, who you thought underperformed, who should have played more, things of that nature. So that's kind of how that's going to go. And then once the season starts, we'll have the call-in shows after the games on Sunday, whether it be right after the game or maybe later on in the day. If we play an early game, which I think a lot of our games are early, I'm not gonna have the call-in show right after that game because we all like football and we still have more football to potentially watch. But we'll try to get it in after that late game before the Sunday night game. And if it's a Sunday night game that's like between a 0-8 team and a 1-7, we'll go right while that Sunday night game is going on. But that's the plan going forward. And after film comes out that I can get the all 22 on and the back view on, I'll have 2 to 3 breakdowns a week based off the games we had and the time I got to get you. But you'll definitely get 2, potentially 3, and depending on how much time I have, 4. But 4 will be a stretch. You probably won't have 4 till later in the season, like that, because I have a little more free time, November, December, January. All right. So with that being said, let's see what questions we got in the chat box before we get started on this depth chart. That's the channel update. That's what Ravens Roundup is going to be what's going to be doing, going for the season ahead, coming the next couple weeks or whatnot. So Hobbs always make the rookies earn it. Looks like he's doing that. Ben Powers is running with the runs, but listed as a 3. I saw that. So let's get into it. Let's start with the wide receivers. Obviously, you got Willie Snead as a 1, and most of us thought that because he's probably the best receiver on the team right now. The other receiver is Seth Roberts. Seth is a guy that I think either is going to start for us or is going to be cut or traded. That's what I think. He's either going to be a starter, he's going to be cut and traded. I don't think he's going to be a backup or whatnot. I mean, he could be a starter at the beginning of the year and maybe work his way to a backup, after the fact. But right now, he's either going to be a starter or a backup. Now, what surprised me right here is all the hype that oh crap, I can't. His name leaves me right now. A rookie receiver from Notre Dame. Golly, I drew a blank. But with all that he's been doing, in the camp, and he's not a 1 or 2, that's surprising to me. That's really surprising to me. All the different videos I've seen come out of the good plays and Boykin. That's it, Boykin. Thank you, appreciate it, Mitchell. I had some guys that I know go to camp. Ing Raven, Sonny from SCG, and some other guys, and they raved about the things that Boykin was doing. And so to not see him on this list at all is crazy to me. So and I pretty much screenshotted the whole list. So I don't know if he's hurt or whatnot, but it's kind of crazy for me not to see him on there and to see Marquise on here, and who's been hurt most of the time. But again, for one, you got Willie Snead. Behind Snead, you got Chris Moore. Then you have Marquise Brown and Jalen Smith. The other wide receiver, you got Seth Roberts, Jaleel Scott, Michael Floyd. And so the two guys that's obviously missing is Boykin and the recently cut Lashley. I see Lashley practice already with the Ravens. And it's hard to say that fight had something to do with him being cut. Because the word that I got from different people is he dropped a lot of balls. And the day of the fight was probably his best day of practice from what I'm hearing. So I'm not really sure what went on in that, but I always talked about that wide receiver competition being cutthroat because we had a bunch of bodies and no real standouts. So they were going to kind of, and I hope this is not the wrong term to use, but kind of hang themselves to weed out who stays and who makes the team or whatnot. Because I think the only locks are Snead, Marquise, and Boykin. And I guess maybe Chris Moore. But, other than that, I don't think any of these guys are locks. And I wouldn't be surprised to see if we pick somebody else up and bring them in, to see if they can make this team. Because the guys we have are solid, but we don't have an alpha at receiver. Marquise could be that, but he's a rookie. We can't really expect him to be the alpha guy coming in as a rookie. Let's jump down to the offensive line. So, a lot of, like somebody said in the chat box, a lot of reports have had Powers running with the ones, but that was, I know some guys hadn't passed the running test or the conditioning test when Powers was doing that. And even when, I think it was, who was it? Was it Brown? Brown and somebody didn't pass it the first time, and he was running with the ones. And, or maybe it Hurst. I just know it was two people. And he was running with the ones. But even when they passed it, he still had some reps with the ones. And now to be listed as a 3, which technically is a 2 because you see Alex Lewis is a PUP. But let's start at left tackle. Obviously, Ronnie Stanley. That's one of our cornerstone guys. Probably our second best O-lineman. Ooh, I almost said best O-lineman. I forgot about Yonder. So our second best O-lineman. Brown with a close third right there, too. But Sneak's behind him. Marcus Applefield. I think we'll see a lot of Sanit or Sanat, however you say it, in Applefield in the preseason. And that should be a battle to see who's at number 2 guard position. But I think if Ronnie Stanley was to get hurt, do you guys think Orlando will come over? Or would we just bring one of those backup guys in? Because, you got to have a better guy to protect his Lamar's backside. So if Stanley got hurt, do you think Brown would come over, or would one of these guys just bounce up and play that left tackle? How crucial being left tackle is. Moving to the guards. Jermaine and I always screw this guy up. Illuminor. Appreciate it, Michael. Appreciate it. Michael, for the 30 in the chat box. I really appreciate it. When I open the phone lines up, let me know if you call in, and I'll bump you to the top of the list, and we can get you on. Okay, I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Illuminor. I think I'm saying it right. Illuminor is the starter at left guard right here. Alex Lewis on the PUP. For those that don't know, I think it's physically unable to perform. And then Ben Powers is number 3, so technically Ben Powers is a 2. So I think we'll see a lot of Ben Powers and Illuminor in the preseason game trying to secure that spot, because I really don't think Lewis has a chance of being cut. But I think Ben Powers and Illuminor is going to kind of battle for that position. And then whoever wins that position will back up Lewis until about week 8, 9, or if Lewis gets hurt. What up, Ingraven? Good to see you in the chat box, buddy. All right, moving to the center position. Matt Skura. And again, if you follow the channel, I did a video about thinking Matt was not the problem last year with the O-line. He didn't have a great year, but he didn't have a horrible year also. I think his battle with Bozeman, who's listed as a 2, is going to be crucial. I think Bozeman can play guard and center. So, Bozeman's really in a battle with Sakura Illuminor, and Powers. If you want to get technical about it, though, that guy he has 2 spots that he's fighting to get, and could potentially win neither. It's kind of crazy math right there. He could potentially be the starting left guard. He could be the starting center, or he could be the backup left guard and the backup center. I don't think he'll be the backup left guard. I think Ben will be that if he doesn't win the job straight out. So it's a lot of competition going on so far. We've went through 4 positions, 5 positions, and there's only 1 spot, well maybe 2 spots that's solid. I think that's Snead, and I think that's Stanley. Moving on to right guard, Marshall Yonder. Nothing else needs to be said about Yonder. Yonder is a perennial All-Pro, one of the better O-linemen we had behind Big O, not Big O, Ogden, behind Ogden. So Yonder's is, I don't know if he's had Ogden's production, but he's had really darn good production throughout his career, and I think Yonder's going to be one of those guys that goes into the Ravens Ring of Fame or Ring of Honor, whichever way we say it, when his playing career is over. Yonder's done a great job. Yonder is awesome at what he does. He's just the pro's pro, and I think he's having a great impact on Orlando Brown, and has had a great impact on Stanley. And hopefully Ben Powers basically sucking up all the knowledge he can from Yonder, because potentially he'll be one of those guys to step in and get that. Because I don't know if Yonder has more than this year left in the tank, because we always hear about him retiring afterwards. But we'll see. And honestly, we probably won't even see Yonder in the preseason. If so, maybe 1 or 2 drives and whatnot. But yeah, I think Secure has the center on lock. But Bozeman potentially can push both of them. Darrell Williams, don't really know much about him. Don't know much about Isaiah Williams. But both of those Williams guys will be battling for backup spots. There's no way they start unless, I don't even think they start of injury, because you can put in Lewis, you put Bozeman in the guard. So I think Williams and both the Williams boys will battle to even make the team. And if one of them may make the team and go from there, those 2 guys and how you say that, Cyrillus. If I pronounced it, don't destroy me on it. But I think all those 3 guys are potentially cut guys, and if so, maybe one of those guys make the team. Right tackle, Orlando Brown. I think he's a lock, barring anybody gets hurt. I think Hurst is a lock, even though he hasn't had the greatest of what's the word I'm looking for? The greatest of times of lately, because the Chargers game is fresh on everybody's mind. So, and Hurst played guard also, so Hurst could be in that position. I mean, if you think about it, we really probably have 4 people battling for that left guard, not to keep going backwards. You have Hurst, you have Bozeman, you have Ben Powers, and Illuminor. Probably all 4 of those guys are battling for that left guard starting spot. And then RJ Prince, I don't think he will make the team or whatnot. Moving on to tight end. Now, this is the way Madden always has my tight ends, and I have to go ahead and change them when I play the game. But they got Nick Boyle first, Mark Andrews second, Hayden Hurst third. And when I play Madden, I always bump Andrews to 1, Hurst to 2, Boyle to 3. But that's because I'm throwing a lot. But Nick Boyle obviously is doing something that the mainstream media is not picking up on, because Andrews gets all the hype. But I know Andrews is a ball catcher and a okay blocker. Hayden Hurst is basically, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat box, a big slot receiver that can block a little bit. I think Boyle is the best blocker and has okay hands, which is probably why he's listed as number 1, because he's the best blocker out of the 3, and his hands are okay enough that he won't hurt you while in the game. So I think that's why Boyle is listed as number 1. But again, not being able to see practice, not seeing a full practice, I can't really say that's why. But that's my 2 cents on what's going on. And if I had to guess from afar, that's why I would say Nick Boyle is the number 1. But again, I think this is the best group of guys on the team as a whole, with close competition with our secondary. But I think the tight end position is a good group. And I could see really all 3 of those guys excelling this year, especially with the play action and RPO type stuff that I think is going to be a part of the playbook. Moving down to quarterback. Lamar's number 1, Griffin's 2, Trace McSorley's 3. Even though Griffin's hurt, this is pretty solid, pretty set in stone. We're hoping for a successful season with Lamar. And I wish I had his stats in front of me to see what kind of progress he needs. And I may do that in a later stream. I may just look it up later once we finish talking about this depth chart. But Lamar's 1, Griffin's 2, Trace McSorley's 3rd. And again, I talked about this earlier. I hope they just leave Trace McSorley as a 3 and not try to do all those Taysom Hill type things with him, because his body can't. I don't think his body could handle it. I don't know the guy personally, but he's a smaller guy. Taysom Hill with the Saints is huge. So I don't want Trace to have to do those type things. I think he just could be basically a small quarterback. So that's what he is, a small quarterback. Leave him at 3, put him on the practice squad. He can do the things that needs to be done, and if something happens, he can bump up to number 2, and then still we won't have to change the offense for a different style of quarterback. So moving on to fullback, which is a position of interest to me. We got Ricard still there, but he's also listed as I think a D lineman when I flip it over to the other side. So, if we use a fullback, that would mean, I was thinking we weren't going to have a fullback and we're going to use a tight end as that. But if we keep a fullback, Ricard will have a huge impact with the inside zone, the slice cut, the slice stuff, the basically split zone, counter. If we don't want to pull both guards, he'll have a huge impact. And I think he should just go full-time fullback. I think he should I know versatility is key in NFL and it helps you make the team if you can do multiple things. But I think the coaching staff, if they're going to keep him, just should make him fullback. And the other fullback, what's that? Chris Ezelia, IPP. Now, what the IPP? There it is, International Player Program. I was about to ask the same question. Appreciate you, Ian Raven. I'm interested to see what goes on here, because again, I didn't think we were going to keep a fullback, and for us to have 2 listed right here, unless he can just straight up outplay Ricard, he's probably not going to make it. Simply because Ricard can do this, play special teams, and play D-line also. He has an advantage on him because he's able to do more things. So, with him being the second fullback, it's going to be tough for him to make the squad unless he just goes out and dominates and open eyes all the way around. All right, running back. Mark Ingram II, which I think we can agree that he is the number 1 back because of, just because of his whole body of work. Mark Ingram has a good body of work as a runner, and I think he's gotten better with age. He was kept on the designated protected practice squad player last year. Okay, that's cool. So basically, he's a stash guy for us, if that's what we're saying. Chris Ezelia was a stash guy. So that's what I'm getting from the chat box. Gus Edwards, our number 2, or should I say 1A? You pick. Gus Edwards is number 2 or 1A. All right, now Kenneth Dixon, Tyler Irvin. Is 2 names off this running back list that I don't see that I'm really worried about. I don't see Justice Hill. I don't see DeLance Turner. So I'm sure Mark's not going to play much. I'm sure, what's up, Johnny? I'm sure Gus is going to play sparingly. So why not just list all 4 of those guys? Maybe you ran out of paper or something. I don't know. But definitely we're going to see a lot of Tyler Irvin, a lot of Kenneth Dixon, a lot of Justice Hill, a lot of DeLance Turner. Really, got to be. And maybe they just didn't want to list all those guys. I don't know, but we definitely should see them in a preseason game. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Justice Hill and DeLance Turner to see what they do. DeLance had a great preseason last year, especially in the game that most of the starters didn't play. He had a great game, and which I think got him to a practice squad spot until he actually got active and hurt himself. Got hurt in the first game he was in. But those 2 names are missing off of the offensive depth chart for the preseason, but they'll be there in the end and whatnot. And so, they have extended. Okay. So I just got this one off Twitter. And so 4 stringers, really, those are going to be a lot of guys we see. And it's probably a lot more names that listed on that depth chart because it's 90 some odd guys out there right now. And this is only, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Another 6 is 19. Another 6 is 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 35. This is only 35. And so when I flip the defense, it's probably going to be another 35 or so. And so that's 70. So it's still another 20 guys left that ain't on there. Obviously, the 2 we got. Okay. Appreciate it, Mitchell. I appreciate it. So let me change my screen a little bit so we can get to the defense. Let you get some of this for a minute. Let me set it up. Take this one down and put the defense up. Is this my defense? This is my defense. All right, give me a second. All right, we ready with the defense. Everybody see that good? Everybody see the defense up good? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you see the defense. Then we can talk about it a little bit. Give me a thumbs up. Once I get one thumbs up, which I know everybody got it, we can move forward. Get a little bit of my water, my H2O. All right. Let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. We'll come back to those questions in a minute, Josh. I'll come back to those questions in the chat box. Let's go with the defense. So the defense, I think, is kind of set in stone with, because of as far as the starters. I think most of the competition defensively is going to come from backup guys. And so, let's get into it. Obviously, Brandon Williams, our defensive tackle, an edgy 3 technique type guy, is starting out there. Michael Pierce, the slimmer Michael Pierce, is starting nose tackle. And I think the biggest competition up front will be with Wormley's spot. You got Chris Wormley backed up by Siegler, and then again you have Ricard here. I don't think Ricard's going to play any of that defensive end spot. But behind Brandon Williams, you got Willie Henry Jr., which is he's in for a battle, and my guy Gerald Willis from the U. That's the guy that I'm thinking is going to make the team, hands down. Because we could keep this streak of undrafted guys making the team. I just really like Gerald Willis. Gerald should have been a second, maybe a third round pick. I don't really know what happened with the pre-draft stuff, but I know he got invited to the Senior Bowl, didn't work out. Invited to the Combine, didn't work out. So all that stuff was probably negative on, why he didn't get drafted. Because, nobody got to see him do what he does. So he was strictly on game tape. And I'm sure he was at the Combine and do interviews and all those things, but either somebody found something they didn't like in his personal life or something like that. Now he did sit out a year at Miami to get his personal life together. He did. And for those that don't know, Landon Collins is his brother. I don't know if it's full brother or half brother, but Landon Collins I don't think Landon's with the Giants anymore. Whoever Landon's with, that's his brother. All right, behind Michael Pierce, Dalen Mack. Definitely a one technique nose tackle guy. He has that wide base with massive legs. He can, if Pierce or Williams don't re-sign, I'm sure one of them not going to re-sign, Dalen Mack slide in that spot. If Pierce don't re-sign, I think Mack can slide in that spot. If Williams don't re-sign, I think Gerald Willis can slide in that spot. Because Gerald Willis is a lot more active, a lot more twitchy, so to speak, than Dalen Mack. But I think we got a good nucleus behind the defensive tackle and the nose tackle just in case one or both of those guys get away from us. Like I said, the battle is going to be with defensive end behind Chris Wormley, but I see Wormley winning that based off the guys behind him. All right, go to our edge guys, which is our rush. They got Pernell McPhee listed as the starter. I really thought Pernell would be pushed down to defensive end. I thought Pernell would be in Wormley's spot. That's what I thought. And I think Williams and Ferguson should battle for that rush spot. That's what I think still going to happen. Right now, preseason, we're trying to see who can play and evaluate everybody. But I think once the games matter, Pernell will be that defensive end, and Tim Williams or Jalen Ferguson will jump up and be our rush. So I'm thinking Tim Williams. I wish we could keep them all right. The other edge guy, which is, where is it? Sam. It's our other edge guy, it's Sam. Judon, obviously, I think is going to win that, hands down. Then you have Tyus Bowser and you have Shane Ray. I think that's going to be a good competition. Actually, even though I said Judon winning hands down, I say that because he's been on the team. probably know the system, but those two guys behind him going to push him. So this is not, and one of those two guys probably will bump on the other side. So, if I had to say the starting lineup with our front seven right now, I'm going to go with Brandon Williams, Michael Pierce, Pernell McPhee at defensive end, Shane Ray at rush, Peanut, Chris Board, Matthew Judon, and that's a pretty decent front seven in my opinion. Pretty athletic. You got your girth with Williams and Pierce and your other guys that can run and get off blocks and hunt the ball. So that's not a bad front seven right there. But the surprise on here to me is Chris Board. I heard some people talk about Chris Board was running with the ones in camp and shocked the crap out of me. I thought Kenny Young had that on lock, but they said Board is opening eyes at camp. I can't wait to see him play, wait to see what he can do so I can kind of have an evaluation with my own two eyes. But, hey, congrats to Chris Board. You out there doing your thing, picking up an opening that needed to be filled, and you jumping in making the most of your opportunity. Behind those guys are Nicholas Grisby, Alvin Jones, Siler Stewart. I know Stewart is from a small school. I don't know the other two guys, so whether they make the team or not, I do not know. But, definitely Board, Kenny Young, Peanut in that middle linebacker, in that interior linebacker situation. Left cornerback, Marlon Humphrey. Hands down the guy right now at corner. Tavon Young is our slot corner, even though he's listed as number 2. He'll be our number 1 slot. So Marlon and Tavon, that's two good corners. Go over to the other corner, you got Jimmy Smith and Brandon Carr. I'm good with that also. Anthony Averett, I'm good with that. And Justin Bethel. So this is 6 guys that I feel like can play. So it's going to be tough to find PT for Averett and Bethel. It's going to be really tough to find PT for Averett and Bethel because of, we get in slot situations. Tavon going to come in. We have, for some strange reason, we got to have 4 corners on the field. Brandon and Carr be in there. And I'm sure Brandon and Jimmy going to rotate, because both of those guys are older guys. And they'll rotate, so they just won't play a lot of snaps. And then you bounce to the safety position. Earl Thomas, Deshaun Elliott, Tony Jefferson, Anthony Levine. So let's talk about the strong safety spot. Tony Jefferson is a guy that can, I think Tony's more like an outside linebacker, a thumper type guy. Tony Jefferson puts me in the mind of Pollard. And for those of you that are Pollard fans, don't crucify me because of this. But I think he puts me in that mode of a tone setter. He doesn't bring wood exactly as hard as Pollard, but I just think he's that type of guy. He's a box guy. He's gonna help us in the run game, and he can start high and come down and bring that wood to somebody. Now the thing I want to see can Jefferson do is start in the box and get out of there and cover. That's what I want to see. I want to see if Jefferson can start maybe at linebacker level in the alley and then drop back to the middle of the field and cover 3 or drop back on the hash and cover 2 or cover 4. That's what I'm really interested to see if he can do that. And drop back fast enough to still make his reads and make plays on the ball. That's what I'm interested to see with Tony Jefferson. Anthony Levine Sr. He's our hybrid guy. I think he can play strong safety, but he also may be in that mix with middle linebackers. I think he's like maybe if we're in a nickel type package and that we don't want to give up the box. You know what I'm saying? Like pre-snap, you don't want to give up the box. You'll stick Levine in there and let him play the other linebacker next to Peanut. So he's the guy that I think he's the hybrid guy for us, and he's a tweener, so to speak. But I think even though he's listed as a 2 here, I think he's a 2 at strong safety, and I think he's going to be a 2 at that weak linebacker also. So I think he'll get in and get a lot of snaps. Behind that, we have Biggie Marshall and Anthony Averett. Now, when we drafted Marshall, I wondered what we was going to do with him. And I'm going to stick with my plan and say that Marshall probably is going to be, he may be a practice squad guy this year, but I think he's going to be groomed to be a safety. When we drafted him initially, I thought they were drafting him to be a safety. And to see him still listed at corner, it's not doesn't bother me, but we're so deep at corner, why not put him at safety? But then I look at the safeties. We're not bad at safety either. So it's tough to see why we even drafted Marshall. But something has to be done with him because I don't want him to get away. I don't want to put him on practice squad and he get away. So Marshall may be a stash guy. From the Chuck Clark, it's gonna be tough. Chuck Clark gave us some good snaps. It's gonna be tough. And Bennett Jackson, I don't think Bennett's going to make it. But Averett, Marshall, Bethel, those guys are, I hope they're good at special teams because that's going to, up their chance to make the team. Let's go in the chat box and see if we got some questions real quick before we open the phone lines up. What I think about our backup QB. I think it's RG3. I think he'll be back by the time the season starts, and I think it's hands down he's the guy because he showed the little snaps he got last year that once he was called on to play, it wasn't a big issue. He came in and played on what I think is an okay level. And I had an argument on Twitter with somebody just saying that we needed a backup quarterback because RG3 was 2 for 7 with like 50-some yards. But the thing is, it's not about his completions. It's about how he ran the offense when he got a chance to do it. He looked composed. Some of his balls may have been drops or straight up incompletions. I don't remember those 7 snaps. I just know when he got in and played after his first or second snaps, I didn't feel bad about what he did. And keep in mind when he played in the playoff game, he was almost in an impossible situation. Right after Lamar got hurt. I think the other time he played was right after Lamar got hurt also. So he got stuck in a situation where he wasn't, can't say not prepared, but had been sitting on the sideline for 3.5 quarters. He had to jump in a pressure situation, which is what backup quarterback's supposed to do, but it is tough to do. So I think RG3 has our backup spot hands down. And I think Trace McSorley is going to be on the practice squad and whatnot. I don't think we're going to keep 3 guys. But if something happens, Trace can come up, and then we might go into the free agent pool and go from there. Man, we got a lot of good depth on defense. It's going to be tough to cut some. It really is, Sean. It's going to be tough to cut some of these guys, especially looking at look at this third row of corners and safeties. Averett, Chuck Clark, Jackson, Bethel, Marshall. It's going to be, and I'm sure there's some more guys on that expanded roster that's online. It's going to be tough to cut some of these guys. Really tough. You don't think Big will make it at corner? Not right now. Not right now. Because, let's count him. If he stayed at corner right now, he's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's at least the 6th guy behind Humphrey, Smith, Young, Carr, and Averett. He's at least the 6th guy. So it's going to be tough for him to make it. I mean, he may make the team doing a lot of special team stuff, but how much spin he going to get at corner in the regular season, I don't know. He may get a lot in the preseason. I'm sure he'll get a lot in the preseason because he's a rookie, but I just don't see him making it. And if he make it, he just won't play. He'll be a special teams guy. He may make it at corner, just won't play. Coach, you got Wormley starting. On here, yes. I think when the season starts, I do not. I think Pernell McPhee is going to play defensive end. I really think Pernell McPhee is going to play defensive end. And Shane Ray, Bowser, Tim Williams will jump up and be that rush guy. Or they'll bump Judon over to the rush guy and bring up one of those other guys I just mentioned. What I think about Ed Reed coaching with the Ravens DBs. I tweeted earlier that we need Ed Reed, and I put a bunch of exclamation points behind it. So if that man wants to coach, we should make a way for it to happen ASAP. And you really don't. It's tricky now because you really don't want to step on the toes of whoever's coaching the DBs, because you can't just say okay, you're fired. We want to bring in Ed Reed. That's not good business. It's not good business. So what you got to do is you got to kind of maybe bring Ed in as a consultant, or maybe it's like an assistant. And, if the guy decides to leave or quits or they don't do good, then you bump Ed up. So that's how that works. But you can't just, I don't think it's proper etiquette just to bring Ed in and say, hey, dude, you fired. Get out, because it's Ed Reed. So, I would love for him to be there. When he coached for the Jets, was it the Bills? When he coached for the Bills, I felt some kind of way about it. But I would really love to see Ed back coaching for Baltimore. Or better yet, even back coaching in Miami. Again, if you don't know I'm a Miami fan, I would definitely love to see him coaching at one of those 2 spots. Anywhere else, I don't want to see it. Anywhere else, I don't want to see it. We would have Ed, Coach Earl. Yes. If Ed would coach those guys, just think about this film session real quick. So, it's what, Tuesday or whatever days they watch film together, and you got Earl Thomas and Ed Reed leading the DB room. Think about that film session. Wow, that's Earl Thomas and Ed Reed leading your film session. Earl is probably would I be out of line saying Earl's a top 10 safety of all time? Is that fair? Because we know Ed's potentially the best safety of all time. Potentially. So you got Earl Thomas, a top 10 guy, maybe of all time, and maybe of all time. Let me do this. Maybe of all time, and then Ed's definitely a top 1 or 2 safety of all time. So that would be a great meeting room. The breakdowns, the tendencies, the way to bait guys and get picks. That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. Earl, you think? Wait. Let's detour for a minute. Johnny says that Earl might be top 5 of all times. That's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough because I can give you 3 names right off the bat that may push him down. Ed, Ronnie Lott, Troy Polamalu, which I hate to really bring that up. No, you don't even put Troy in that. Don't even put Troy in that. Rod Woodson. That's 3 guys right there. 3 guys. So you're saying those 3 guys, and you throw Earl in there. So it's one other guy that's would be in there. That's tough. That's a tough cookie to crack right there. Top 5 for Earl. I don't know. Yeah. Polamalu. Yeah, he could, but Polamalu just made so many plays. You know what? And since we talking about that, Polamalu and Ed Reed did a lot of the same things. Ed just did it better. Ed did his own thing a lot. Ed did his own thing a lot. No one coming to mind better than Earl. Let me think about it for a second, John. You could have a point. Because a lot of the guys in the league right now, Earl's the guy in the league right now. You got the young kid at the Bears that could be pretty good. I think his name is Jackson. But so yeah, you know what, John, you might have a point. You might be top 5. You're right. But let's get back in the chat box. I can't put Troy in that deal. I'm sorry. We ain't gonna put none of those fillers in there. We're taking all fillers out. And the only reason Wilson was in there because he came and did some stuff with us. Trade Carr and Jimmy to the Jags, and we get Jalen Ramsey with Marlon, Tavon, Everett, Iman, etc. The only thing I don't like about that is Ramsey's gonna break the bank. And can we afford to pay somebody break the bank money and keep our team intact? That's what I'm scared about with getting Ramsey, because I think Ramsey has 1 year left on this deal, maybe. So what he's going to command as a corner, because he's going to be the highest paid corner, because the dude's an absolute dog. So I don't know if we can afford to pay him and then still keep our team intact. Is Earl Dawkins? That's a good question. Is Earl better than Dawkins? I think so. I don't think Earl was as good of a hitter as Dawkins, as good of a box safety as Dawkins, but Earl can play the pass and play quarterback back there better than Dawkins. And Ed was a straight on special teams, yeah. Maybe Brian Dawkins, Sean Taylor. See, I want to put Sean Taylor now as the greatest to me, but his body, he didn't have enough of a body of work to say he was the greatest. In my mind, he's the greatest and potentially could be the greatest. And again, that's part of the Miami homer in me. But I just didn't want to put him in there as the greatest. And, he didn't have that body of work. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Okay, you got Ed 1. Okay, Afro Summer, I started off. He said Ed's number 1. Let's go. Who's number 2? Sean Taylor number 2? Okay. Well, let's see if somebody give us a number 3. Ed number 1, Sean Taylor number 2. Somebody come with number 3. Well, out of number 3, come on, somebody. We gotta have number 3. Got to somewhere. I'm gonna throw you some names up there. You got Ronnie Lott. Okay, we're Lott. They go Ronnie Lott. You got I just called his name. What's his name? Rod Woodson. I don't think I don't think Charles Woodson played safety enough to be in this conversation. He was a great corner. I don't think Champ played safety enough to be in this corner because they moved Champ to safety. So Earl may be in the top 5 or 6. He may be in the top 5. Tunnel. Who was Tunnel? Man, the Cowboys not giving up Byron Jones. Cowboys not giving that guy up. Atwater was good. He sure was. Atwater was good. We can't add Palomalu. We biased over here. No Palomalu in here. No Palomalu. We cutting all hair off. No head and shoulders. Ball fades. Temps. No hair guys. All right. But let me crack this phone line open and then we'll get to it. So give me 1 second, you guys. 1 second. Bob Sanders was good with the Colts. Yep. Bob Sanders was good.
Welcome. This service is provided by freeconferencecall.com.
So
there is one.
There we go. So, now the phone lines are open, guys. So if you want to call in, let's do it. Let's chit chat. And the topics are this depth chart, anything you've seen in camp that you want to chit chat about. So just let me know what's going on. And also, you should not hear the phone line music right now, even though it's open. I had a problem with that last time. So if you hear that elevator type music, you should not hear that. If you do hear it, put like a big X in the box or something, or say turn it down or something like that. So as long as you don't hear the music, we good right now. We're just waiting on our first caller. The number should be scrolling across the screen. It's 605-472-5400. Access code 918914. Again, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Let's get in the chat box just a little bit. Watching some old games. Ed didn't impact the run and pass as much as Palomalu. Man, that is so not true. That is so not true. So not true. Ed didn't come down and lay wood, or he wasn't as flashy as Palomalu, jumping over piles and doing all that stuff. But Ed, you didn't know where he was. So just because he didn't make the tackle, he impacted the run game. Because if he came down in the box, a lot of guys checked. A lot of guys, quarterbacks go check, or kill. So just because he wasn't there, smacking guys when they ran the ball, doesn't mean that he would have he didn't have a good effect on the run game. So him coming down in the box, then getting out of there, or him being sitting there free safety and coming down making tackles around the line of scrimmage, he affected the run game. He affected the run game a lot. So because Palomalu was more of a linebacker than a safety, he just was small. If you want to be real about it, Palomalu was a small linebacker. Okay, we got our first call right here. Let's get into it. Let me turn it up. Hello. Who we got? Hello. 410. Who we got? Hello.
Who we got?
Hello.
Who we got?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you good. Who we got
I
here?
can't hear you.
You cannot hear me? What about now?
I can't hear you, man. I see on the chat you got me on, but I can't hear you.
Okay, well let me fix it and call me back in like 5 minutes. Let me fix it. Let me fix that. It's always something with this phone line because I don't have that mixer. But anyway, let's talk about it in the chat box for a minute. We'll get right back to that call. Let me hang him up real quick. Let me hang him up. Yes. All right. The safety played in the 50s and 60s and 79 interceptions, 12 interceptions. Borkins will move the chains, but Hollywood's going to get explosive plays. I think so. I think Borkins is going to start based off what he's shown in the preseason. Borkins is going to be a starter. He's going to start and be that guy that possession guy. along with our tight ends, and Hollywood's going to be the guy that blow the top off. Now, I don't think, you know what, let me say it, not start, play a lot. Check that. Boykin may not start. He's going to play a lot, especially if he keep going. He definitely keep going the way he's going. He's going to play a lot, not necessarily start. Let me try to fix this audio. But yeah, keep on putting the questions in the chat box, and we can talk about it while I'm trying to fix this real quick. And Craven, you definitely should try to call in once I get it straight. Definitely should try to call in again. Make sure we straight here, because he couldn't hear me, so that's my audio. We got guys calling in, so let's see if we can fix this audio while we got guys calling in. Turn this up.
There is one host and one participant in this conference. Please announce yourself.
Hello? Turn your volume down in the background. Hello. Hello, who I got on the mic? Who I got? 4470. I got anybody here? Still not working. We're going to get it fixed.
One host and one participant in this conference.
Hello? Mic check. Can you hear me? Still not there. There we go. All right, back to the chat box. Again, tried to call, won't let me through. That's fine. We're going to work on it. If not, we're going to stay in the chat box. I normally have my assistant / wife here to help me set it up. She was busy tonight, so we can still stay in the chat box. And I know, John, I couldn't hear you. Oh, I don't think you could hear me. So that's why I hung it up. We'll get it together, though. Let's just sit your questions here and we'll talk about them. Especially in the red zone. Boykin and Scott would be crazy. Afro, do you think Scott's going to make the team, though? That's the question. Do you think Scott's going to make the team? We know Boykin's going to make the team because they spent their high pick on him. Do you think Scott's going to make the team? Really? That's the question right there. Is Scott going to make the team? I think Boykin is replacing Scott. I was a big fan of Scott, a big fan of Lashley. Lashley's gone. I think Boykin, what he does and what he's done so far in in camp, right now he's trending to replace Scott, and Scott would be cut. But again, when people were talking about what was happening at camp and what should happen, I always said to them, the games matter. I think the preseason games matter a little bit more than the practices, because you actually got live guys flying at you. You got live bullets, so to speak. So those games hold a little bit more weight than practices. A little bit more weight than practices. So that's why I think the games hold a little bit more weight. Whose range is insane? Whose range? Oh, are we talking about Boykin? I think he was talking about Boykin's range is insane. I think Moore's on that bubble. Yeah. Chris Moore could potentially be on that bubble. But Chris Moore and Seth Roberts the same guy. To me. If you saw my video with the Spider-Man meme early in the year, though, they're the same guy. I don't think Seth Roberts is making it. Scott and Boykin are both making it. Okay. So if Scott and Boykin both make it, we got some two big outside guys. Then you got the speed guy with Hollywood outside. Then you got your three tight ends working the middle. You got Snead working the middle. It's not a bad package. So 20 throwing TDs, 20 rushing. You think Lamar's going to get 20 rushing TDs? If Lamar gets 20 rushing TDs, I'm going to be mad. If Lamar Jackson has 20 rushing TDs, I'm going to be very upset. Very, very, very upset. Because that's too many rushes for the quarterback. If he has 20 TDs of 25 plus yards, that's different. But that means that we're going to be pounding him in the red zone instead of the backs that we have. So, and in the red zone, they throw a lot more bodies in there, a lot more potential for Lamar to get hit by a 300-pounder or a 4'5", 270-pounder. So, I don't think he needs to have 20 TDs. Yeah, me too, but I think Roberts can run more routes. Are you saying Roberts run better routes than Moore? I think so. I did a video about Moore and his route running last year. It was not the greatest. It potentially could have gotten better, but his route running last year was not the greatest. And he's fast. He can run the go route. He can run the post. He can run. He's good with the comeback because he has the speed to make guys turn and run with him, and he settle down and run his comebacks. So those routes he's good on. My thing is the slants, the deep end cuts, the routes where he has to maybe run like a curl and find a soft window to sit in. Those are the things that I didn't see Chris Moore excel at, and I don't know if he's gotten better at that, but it would help his case if he has gotten better at it. Lamar at the goal line, running back. Come on now, Craven. You sound like the people on Facebook, as Ian Raven say. You're trolling. You're trolling. I think 15 pass, 11 rushing TDs, 2,700 yards passing. No, I still don't want him to have 1,000 yards rushing. Even though if he have 1,000 yards rushing, it's going to be special. But I don't want him to have 1,000. He could have 70 a game. 70 a game will put him around that. So 1,000 yards rushing is foreseeable. He could have that. Let me do that math real quick. My phone. I don't even know where my phone is. Probably back here beeping somewhere. There he is. So if he did 70 yards a game, let's see what he get. And if my phone's about to die, it's on 1%. Clear. Oh, 70 yards a game, that's 1,100 yards. So yeah, I can see that. I can see Lamar getting 1,000 yards. If Lamar gets 20 and 20, we win the Super Bowl. Probably. Lamar will have a lot of rushing TDs in the red zone. I think they will run a lot of spread. Well, we're going to run spread anyway. We're going to learn how to spread anyway. Moore's been dropping a lot of passes. That don't surprise me. He's also now that's good. He's a special team. He's a kick returner. He's a gunner. I don't know if he's a punt returner also. I don't know. So think about he's going to have 1,000 yards rushing. Think about 16 games with the speed of Hollywood. The defense is going to open up over 16 games. Lamar's going to run because of the defense gives him. I think so, and I agree with you. He could push for 1,000 yards, 800 to 1,000 yards. He could push that. I can see it happening because that's really. I'm saying I did 70 times 16, and that was 1,160 or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was over 1,100 yards. So if he gets 55, 60 yards a game, he can get that. He could average 55 yards. I can see that. That's foreseeable. He did have 700. You're right. So 1,000 would be it'd be attainable. We can catch at 36. You see Vedvik replace him as a punter. Vedvik is the guy that got jumped right last year. So how is his hang time and his yardage on his punts, is it even close to Koch? Because if not, we probably can keep him and get rid of Vedvik, and we can find a punter and whatnot. Hopefully we don't punt that much anyway this year. All right. So Sean did the math. Lamar needs only 63 yards per game to reach 1,000 yards. So that's doable. That's doable. Well, don't worry about the haters, Johnny. Don't even worry about it. Because as my channel grew a little bit, I started getting other teams guys in here, and so I don't even worry about those dislikes. I get one or two. I think I got 5 on one video, but they don't even see it. Forget it. It's not even big. Don't even big. But he is a clown though. I see Seth Roberts like I did Lashley. Not the fastest guy, not the best route runner, and not sure about his hands, but Lashley was suspect. Nothing really special about him. I think they cut him. They did cut him, Mike. He's in Oakland already. I actually saw a picture before I got on the stream tonight of him already practicing with Oakland. So and come to find out, seems like he could be sort of a hothead. He had to fight, then he threw the ball. So it is what it is. But he's gone now. He's the Raiders' problem, and hey, we may see him on Hard Knocks next week. Never know. As I'll definitely be watching Hard Knocks. What scheme the Ravens gonna play, Josh? We gonna spread, some QB runs, running back powers, counters. inside zone, outside zone, split zone. Josh, you can look back at that the film I did about the 49ers, and that should kind of give you an idea of whatnot. So let me try something with this phone line real quick. Give me 1 second. I got somebody sitting there waiting on me. So let me try something with this phone line. See if I can get it to act right. Preferences. Give you 1 second. You guys mingle amongst yourselves. All right, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. Let me turn the phone on. Turn this up. Hello. You got me here? Hello. 410. You back? You got me now? Hi. Okay. And I hear it in the background. So can you hear my answers in the chat? Let me try one more thing. Just stay here with me. We're gonna fix this together. Don't hang up. Yeah, just hold on 1 second. We're gonna fix this. What about now? You got me now?
Just heard something.
Nah, I don't hear him. This thing's crazy.
What about now?
This thing's crazy.
It's more of a feedback hearing.
Because I'm sure he's hearing me now and I don't hear him. One more thing. Let's try one more thing. What about now? You got me? Yes, no, maybe. Oh, I got one more thing to try. Here we go. One more. Then I'm going to get out of settings while I got you guys on hold.
I still ain't hearing it. But I can sometimes hear myself.
All right, what about now? Can you hear me now?
Picking up me through the phone. I don't know how it's working.
Still no? Nothing?
I can sometimes hear myself. All right, what about now? Can you hear me now? Picking up me through the phone. I don't know.
Guess not. Okay, guys, let me come back.
Nah, it still ain't working.
All right. Sorry about that. What it is, so I guess the phone's off for the night, so I didn't get it set up right. My bad. I take that. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Let's stay in the chat box for another 10 or 15 minutes or so. And who was that calling? Who's the 410 caller? Who's the 410? So I can know the next time when I get it right, take your call first. I'm gonna go ahead and write that down. Let me know who it was, and when I get it situated, we'll go from there. All right, when I get it situated, we'll go from there. What up, Javon? So let me get back in the chat box. Now I'm sorry about that. I'll have it fixed next time. You don't see it, but I'm PO'd about not getting my phone situated going tonight, especially advertising and whatnot. So I'll get it fixed. I don't like stuff not working. It really bothers me. So I'm probably gonna fix it when we get off the stream, but I'm not gonna go back live. But we'll be live soon though. Definitely after the preseason game. I have everything set up, fixed, running smooth. And my apologies for advertising and not having it going tonight. That really burns me up. But back to the chat box for another 10 or 15 minutes or so. Where are we? Let's go back to Andrews and Hurst, Scoot. Who is Scoot? Boykin, Ingram, Lamar, red zone, unstoppable. Yeah, that's a lot to deal with. A lot to think about. What did I think about Chris Boyd over Kenny Young? I talked about it earlier. I was surprised. that Boyd was over Kenny Young, but talking to some people that went to the open practice and also went to the regular practice the next day, I said Boyd was running with the ones and holding his own. He was doing the things needed to keep up with that group, and I can't say Kenny took a step back. Boyd just may have stepped up. So hats off to Boyd, and hope he continues to improve and ascend up the the ladder and play well for us beside Peanut. And so, and we, you know what? I'm going to put this in your ear. We know how good Peanut played last year. But the question is, can Peanut handle being that guy in the middle? Can he handle that? That's a big role to take on, because now you're going to be schemed for. Mosley was schemed for last year and year 4 in years past. But can Peanut handle being schemed for and still make plays? That's going to be big to see early in the year. Can he handle, can he handle the mic? Can he handle the mic, being a mic linebacker? All right, let's go to another question. Man, we're going to smoke it. All right, now, Anime Dolphin, I appreciate you coming through. And we do play the Dolphins first. So the chat box may get on you a little bit. But you know what? And I think we're going to beat the Dolphins too. So I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. But, I ain't here for the slander. I like my entire chat box. I want you to keep coming. It's a lot of one-on-one plays. We're going to get a lot of one plays because of Hollywood. And it's crazy to think that a rookie is going to get you that much coverage. But just think about Travis Kelce. Kelce's a good receiving tight end anyway. But because of Tyreek Hill, Kelce's always one-on-one. Sammy Watkins, always one-on-one. Always. And that's because of Tyreek Hill. And Hollywood should eventually evolve into a Tyreek Hill type deal. Just not as many. No, I can say that because Hollywood can catch a short ball and turn it up. So he should end up being a Tyreek Hill type guy once he gets a little bit more weight on him. Hopefully he can get a little bit more weight on him and not lose his quickness. All those professionals out there, hopefully they can transform his body like that. But that's what we need from him. Board over Young means speed kills. But I think Kenny Young can run too. I thought Kenny Young was the fastest linebacker we had last year. I thought. How did Earl Thomas miss the top 100? I thought he was number 80. No, Watchcow was number 80. The running back, Mark Ingram, was number 80. So, and I think Mark was the only guy we had. So that's crazy. Maybe because he was hurt. Maybe he missed it because he was hurt. I think Kenny Young's going to be the man by the end of the year. We'll see. We'll see. That's why they play the games, so to speak. That's why nobody's paper champions. That's why they play the games. I like healthy competition because iron sharpens iron. And I don't say that because the Ravens been wearing shirts like that. I've been saying that. I know it's a Bible in it. It's a scripture in the Bible, but I've been saying that the best make the best better. If that makes sense. Going ones versus ones in practice makes your team better. Makes your teams better. Playing the best guys in whatever league you're in makes you better. If you're an individual, if you're a receiver, going against the best DB every time you can makes you better. Same thing with O-linemen and running backs and whatnot. So I think that's how that's going to work. They got to worry about Borkins going over the head. Yes, got to worry about that. Got to worry about Borkins going over the head. And if they keep Scott, got to worry about him going over your head too. I hadn't heard much about Scott in practices. Have you guys heard anything about how Jaleel Scott's going and whatnot? They got to worry about Borkins going over the head. Injuries. Hollywood needs to have a track coach. They know how to build muscle while increasing speed. All those guys that Hollywood's from South Florida. So there's a ton of guys down there that know how to help with speed. And long as he lifts and has muscle endurance, which will bulk him up just a little bit, I think he can keep that speed. It's all about finding a guy that knows how to build your muscle endurance to go along with keeping your twitch muscles worked out. And a lot of that stuff with a lot of the research I've been seeing lately, guys are going with bands, doing a lot of band stuff. They'll get their lift or whatever, and then say they do three sets or something. They'll get the lift and try to get bulk. Then they'll drop a lot of weight on that last session, put a band on the bar and like maybe something up under it and just hit it real hard, real fast and try to keep that twitchiness, whether it be squat, bench, or just putting the band wrapping around your feet and, just doing leg press real fast, something like that. So that's as long as he keep his twitchiness and add maybe 5 to 10 pounds, I think he should be good. Let's see. Earl missed because he plays for the Ravens. Got a Ravens bias in the top 100. I can see that. The defensive end leaves a lot to be desired. Dustin, I think, I said it earlier, I think Pernell McPhee's going to be that defensive end. I really do. I think Pernell McPhee's going to be that defensive end, and we're going to slide Bowser, Ray, or Tim Williams up in that rush spot and go from there. I think that's how it's going to end up week 1, 2, or 3. Unless Wormley just balls out. And he could just ball out. He really could ball out. He could. What's next besides Ed, possibly Ed Reed? What other ex-Raven would you like to see coaching them in any amount? Oh, that's a good question, Craven. Other than Ed Reed, what other ex-Raven would you want to see coaching the team in any amount? Ogden. I would say Ogden. Ogden, and can't think of a receiver. Steve Smith maybe at receiver. Steve Smith. Quarterback, nobody. Running back, dare I say that? I'm not going to say that. Linebacker. I don't think Ray could coach. I don't think Ray had the patience. That's about it. Mason could be, Mason at receiver. I can see that. Yonder's still playing. That's why I didn't say Yonder. Anquan, there you go. Yes, Anquan Bolden at receiver. Yes, I definitely do Derek Mason or Bolden, and I'll take Bolden over Mason. So yeah, definitely that. Running back, Ray coaches high school right now, and all what happened with him. I don't think there's a possibility he could even be with the Ravens and whatnot. I'm not going to tell you what Ray could be right now. Ray on my bad list right now. He on my bad list. Weddle at DB, yes. Weddle at DB. Who else at linebacker other than Ray? I don't know. Because we would need we would need an inside linebacker coach, and we would also need like an edge guy, outside linebacker guy. But that's where I'm at with that. With Carr playing some safety, do you see Chuck Clark getting cut? Yes, I do, because I think Marshall gonna end up being a safety too. I do. Bart Scott, good answer. Can't wait. Bart Scott's my guy. That's one of my favorite gifts too. Can't wait. Coach. They say Bolden coaches Miles Boykin. That's why he got strong hands. Well, if he does, that makes sense. Because Bolden had the strongest of hands. I don't think Doomville was a Raven enough to I know he was Raven, but I don't know if he was a Raven enough. Because in my mind, I was thinking some of the good Ravens that stood out. And boy, the way we got Doomville, that was crazy. But I'm glad we did. Elvis, who? Gerback? At quarterback? Come on, really? I'd rather have Trent Dilfer. At least Dilfer got the Super Bowl. But that is what it is. So, what I think about Bennett Jackson? I haven't seen enough on Bennett Jackson to give an opinion on him. I got to see him in the game. I got to see what he can do. I got to see him in the game to give my opinion of Bennett Jackson. Like him, Marshall, and I saw Marshall's college highlights. I need to see more of Chuck Clark. I need to see more of Avery. I need to see more of Bethel. Now, some guys that have been Ravens YouTubers and follow the team like close, have seen those guys. This is, and I follow the Ravens, but I was like the average fan, just would watch the ball and would rarely watch preseason, and so this is gonna be my. And even last year, I kind of partially watched games like I should have. But this will be the first preseason where I'm like all over everybody as far as in terms of evaluation. Because what I want to do is I want to try to predict that 53-man roster as close as possible before that last cut. So like that day right after the last preseason game or leading up to it, I'm going to try my darndest to pick that 53-man roster as close as possible. And then when it comes out, see how close I am to it. So that's my goal with these preseason games, because I don't have any practice film or anything to look at. Is to dig in, watch all the snaps, watch it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and try to put together a preseason depth chart. So, with that being said, and for those of you that missed it at the beginning of the live stream, I'm gonna give you this channel update again. During the preseason, I'm gonna have vlogs, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take guys that report about the Ravens, that actually go to the practices, and the Ravens.com Twitter and IG page where they post stuff and talk about stuff, and I kind of dissect those things that I'm hearing from camp, and we'll talk about that in like a vlog setting. So what I'll do is I'll set the camera up, let you know what I heard, because most of you probably hear anyway, because you probably got alerts from these same type people, and I'll give you my 2 cents of it, my interpretation, and then we can talk about it in the chat box. And then for the preseason games, I don't have the ability to get the all 22 for preseason games. So what we'll do is I'll have the phone lines working. I promise you this won't happen again, but I have them working, and we'll talk about what you guys saw in the preseason game, and what can improve on, and who did well and who did bad, who we think will be cut and whatnot. And then for the season, you know how the season goes. Sunday at some time you'll get a live stream like we're doing now with the phone lines open, so you can talk about the game, what you saw, what you like, what impressed you, what made you mad and whatnot. And the goal is to try to do it between the late game and the Sunday night game. But if it's a crappy Sunday night game, we may just do it while that Sunday night game is on. But the goal is to try to get it done between the late game and the Sunday night game. If we play a 1 o'clock game, definitely that's the goal. If we play a afternoon game, we're going to maybe finagle that some kind of way, maybe at halftime of the Sunday night game, but we're going to try not to give you a stream while there's some good football on. So that's what's going on with that. And then when I get the film late Monday or Tuesday, you'll definitely get 2 videos. You potentially will get 3. And once my actual season is over with, you'll get 4. And maybe even more than that, depending on how much time I have. But count on 2 once the season starts. And whenever my season is over, hopefully my season goes to July with a state championship. And I'm not July, to December with a state championship. And you'll start getting more film and more film breakdowns off that. And if we play on a Thursday, you'll get your stuff early. If we play on a Thursday, you might get something Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday again. If we play on Thursday. But Sunday games, you'll probably get minimum 2 films, maximum 4. But look forward to 2 films, and then that actual call-in show right after the game to get it off your chest, basically, so to speak. And I think that's what I'm gonna call it. Get it off your chest Sunday, after the games, whether it be negative or positive. All right. I appreciate you guys. And again, I got to go back and give shout out to Michael B in the chat box for dropping that 30 in the chat box. I really, really appreciate it. And again, I had the phone lines open. And Mike, if you want to, hit me up and direct message and whatnot on Instagram or Twitter, let me know. And I'll get your number. And when I have the phone set up, when you call in, I'll jump straight to you and let you know let you be the first one to talk about whatever you want to talk about. And again, guys, I appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Jared, I coach at Godby High School. Let me see if I can put it up here. Godby High School in Tallahassee, Florida. Godby High School in Tallahassee, Florida. And I appreciate you keeping up with us. And when I do stuff, I'll drop little links in so you can see, what's going on for the weekend. I may even talk about if we win or lose for that week. Hopefully it's all wins, though. But again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you want to get some of the Sip to Tally paraphernalia at Teespring, let me know. I'll shoot you the link, or I actually put the link in the description once this is over with. Got Ravens Roundup shirts, got Sip to Tally shirts, got Athlete shirts, which I love mine. It has a nice, cool saying on it, and it's about for those athletes that used to ball out and mentally you still can do it, but your body just won't let you do it. That's what's on that shirt, and I love that shirt. And as soon as I wash it, I wear it just so you can already see it. And Mike, I'm glad you got it. I was wondering if you ever got your shirt. I was wondering. I'm glad you got it. And like I said, I love mine, and you'll see me in more streams with that stuff on. So support the channel. I appreciate everybody's support. We approaching 1,700 subscribers, and tell a friend about this channel. that you know are Ravens fan. And again, Mike, I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody coming through. And I'm about to work on these phone lines because I'm embarrassed that it didn't work. This is Coach Evans. Sip the tally. Salute you guys.